Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
Did I say something weird? Because you made a weird face when we first started.
No, I lifted up my arm and then suddenly felt all of my back pain at once, and I was like, oh,
Oh, good
okay.
times. Good times. Aside from your back pain and being 30, how do you feel?
You have very little time left where you can rub that in my face, and so I understand why you're doing it,
Yeah.
but rude.
I'm ready to be 30. Don't come at me.
That's
I
fair.
was born ready to be 30.
I would like to tell you about my day on Friday because it was wonderful.
Oh, I love that. Great start.
So on Friday, teaching was awful. I mean, because it usually is. But then at the end of the day, I was getting some stuff together, getting ready for the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I suddenly had a manic episode where I planned my entire week of lessons for this week, printed everything for Monday, cleaned my desk, cleaned my classroom, changed Pip's tank over to his new mat, cleaned out the inside of his tank, and changed all of my boards for the classroom.
Did you do the drugs?
I did not do the drugs.
Whew, I'm proud of you.
So then,
But proud of you.
right. So then I called Dan because we had plans. And he was like, are you calling to let me know that you're coming over? I go, well, I'm calling to inform you of all of the things that just happened. And he goes, who are you and what have you done with my girlfriend? And I was like, great question. I don't know. I'm going to Target because I want to buy a Halloween sweater. Would you like to come with me? And he was like, no, it's okay. You can go to Target and then come over, which was the wrong choice.
No, never. No.
Because it was the wrong choice. Because I then went to Target and was like, oh, I don't like any of these sweaters, but I do like that cardigan, which I'm actually wearing right now.
It's a nice cardigan.
It is. And I go, so instead of buying a Halloween sweater, I'm going to buy a brand new outfit from head to toe, including socks, bra, and underwear, and a headband, and new earrings. Just the whole thing, top to bottom.
Good plan.
But then as I'm doing that, I realized I don't really have time to try things on. And I can't remember what size pants I wear. So I called Brie. And she answered the phone. She's like, hello. I go, hey, what size pants do we wear? And she was like, she told me, and then she goes, is that why you called me? I go, yeah, so I'm standing in Target right now, and I know I can fit into the correct size in this brand of jeans because you and I have both already bought it, but I couldn't remember the number, and I don't have time to try it on, so I needed you to tell me.
That's how me and Rachel decide if each other can wear clothes too.
Yeah. So then I walked through the whole store while on the phone with Brie, and I was trying to figure out what to buy for my hair. And I was like, do I buy a headband or a headscarf? And she was like, headband. And I was like, but there's none that's the right color of rust. So I don't know what to do. And she was like, green. And I was like, oh, but it looks like burlap. And she goes, yeah, but burlap is fall. So then I bought this headband that I'm wearing now.
But doesn't really look like burlap, but that's fine.
I know.
It
Well,
really nice.
it actually is like the material is burlap, but it doesn't look that way in pictures. And then I posted pictures from my night out on Friday, and Brianna immediately messaged me. He goes, see, didn't even have to see it to know. Headband fire. And I was like, you were correct. Yeah. So what our plans were on Friday night was this really wonderful thing called a boo bash.
Oh, sold. I don't even know what that means, and I'm sold.
So it was an 21 plus party.
Ugh, even better.
At the zoo.
Oh, I love it.
With spooky Halloween themed beverages of the adult variety and some food snacks as well. And I went with Rachel and Ruthie and Anna and Dan. And I became very intoxicated.
Best way to be. Best way to
Because
be.
here's the thing. It cost $80.
You got to get your money's worth.
Right. So it cost $80. And that was supposed to include 5 beverages, 5 food snacks, and then like the admission and the fact that the animals would be out during the thing. So I was like, okay. But I'm still thinking like it's a fundraiser for the zoo. It's like a party with like a ticketed price. Like the 5 beverages are going to be like glasses this big.
Tiny. Right.
Absolutely no, they were not. They were full-size drinks, including the fact that one of them was a blood bag that was like 3 Capri Suns big. And not a single one of those drinks had only 1 alcohol in it. That blood bag had 5 liquors in it.
Oh my goodness.
It had gin, vodka, triple sec, schnapps, and something else. But there was 5.
Rum. Did it have a rum in it?
I don't think it did have a rum in it. But then there was another one that was like there was like gin martinis. There was a Kahlua thing. It was so much. And the blood bag was the biggest one for sure. And my friend Ruthie didn't like it. So she gave it to me because everyone knew that my goal was to be the drunkest one there. My Halloween costume for the party was generic fall Hallmark heroin number 3.
Okay. I love it.
And I did get absolutely plastered. But also, I was wearing a cute fall sweater and boots and drinking and getting to talk to animals. And I have never been so happy. And I haven't posted it yet because I'm saving it. But Dan took these pictures of me looking at a bald eagle. And like, I was like, get someone who looks at you the way I look at an eagle, but also get someone who looks at you the way he looks at me to take pictures of me looking at an eagle.
You didn't send me any of these pictures.
I did not.
I don't care that you haven't posted them. I should still see them.
Okay, I will send them to you.
I'm different.
So yeah.
It was so much.
Basically, if you want to make me the happiest person in the world, get me drunk at a zoo.
I would like to do that too. Same.
Yeah.
Same, I'm in.
People kept making eye contact with one of the gorillas, and he freaked out though, and I had to explain to everyone to stop.
Right.
And the number of times that I just turned into
gorilla instructor.
Gorilla instructor, or there was something that was because he said something about, they're like, well, he doesn't look very happy. I go, actually, his lip is pouted, and that's actually their most content face, and they don't have a lot of muscle strain in their mouths. So if they're not upset, and I go, sorry, this is 7 drinks in.
I love it.
It was wonderful.
Ugh, the best. Ugh, I'm so jealous. Nothing I like better than a nice zoo trip. With or without alcohol.
Truly.
Really
good. And I just remembered, sorry, I didn't black out, but sometimes I forget little bits of things.
Right.
I just remembered that I asked Dan if we could go road trip and see every zoo in America, and he said yes.
Yes.
He was like, yeah, that could be our thing. And I was like,
I love it. I keep trying to make Rachel do that with me.
Also, this is not a wedding ring. It's an earring that I'm just put on that finger.
To be fair, I didn't even notice it. So
I just keep seeing it glint off the
rest of the world would have asked about it.
I know. Don't worry. Still not engaged. It's fine.
You'll know. The world. The world as the world, you will know.
Yeah. How are you?
Well, I am fab. It is a good week to be alive. This comes out the end of time, but Wednesday the 19th, which will have happened a week and a day before this episode, is the premiere of the new American Horror Story, which is New York City. So stoked. And it is unlocking some villains on Disney Dreamlight Valley on the Switch. which is
Nice.
super fun because I'm almost out of unlockable characters. It's like their big update for the like release because we're still in beta right now until
Okay.
like January technically. And I'm so stoked. But best of all,
Oh my gosh, better than Disney Dreamlight Valley and American Horror Story?
better than Disney Dreamlight Valley and American Horror Story is Brie Lodick. Is that her last name still? What's her new last name?
Yeah, no, that is her last name still.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your sister
I don't know what you're about to tell me about my
is
sister.
my new best friend and love of my life, even though she's married. Fine, no problem.
Yeah.
Um, she is a travel agent for Wish a World Travel. And I was like,
Yes.
I don't know what that means. So I just texted her and I was like, hi, I want to go somewhere for my birthday. Help me.
That's what she does.
And so she sent me 4 different itineraries for San Francisco, Chicago, Ithaca, and Boston because I told her literally very vague things I liked. I was like, don't really want to go to the South. I'm from there. I was like, aside from that, I was like, I like books. I like spooky things. I like um, cold
Okay.
weather. And
Okay.
like literally, that was the information I gave her. And she came back
Okay.
with these like super fun like itineraries. And I narrowed it down to like Chicago and San Francisco. And I was like, okay, this is a little like it's still like a little edge on the edge of like the price I want for me, but still kind of okay. Chicago might be a little cold. Not really sure where I'm at. So then I
Yeah.
was into her today and I was like kind of interested in seeing like what you could put together for like either Disney or a cruise. And so this girl has narrowed my trip down to two. I'm split right now. I've not picked officially yet between going to San Francisco, which she included like Alcatraz, like a bookstore. She has this like
Yeah.
amazing, incredible plan,
Yeah.
or a cruise. So I'm kind of leaning towards doing a solo cruise because it's, first of all, super affordable. We all know I love a good cruise.
That's true.
If I go by myself, I will be going by myself. If I go on a cruise, I am going to pay for the internet package so people don't think I've died.
Okay.
Because at least someone should know where I am, probably.
Probably, yeah.
That doesn't mean I'll be talking to many people, but I will be alive and available. So she's just been the greatest. I just keep sending her vague things, and she just comes back with great ideas. And if anyone needs a travel agent, you
She's
should totally go through
pretty,
her.
pretty phenomenal. When
Like,
I was planning my imaginary trip to Disney, and by imaginary, I just mean it's not happening anymore. Uh, or at least not when I thought it was happening.
right.
She was giving me stuff, and she was gonna get me into she was gonna get me into Animal Kingdom Lodge with park tickets for under $4,000.
Ugh. She had my Disney trip was, I think, under $2,000 or like right at $2,000 when I was looking for
Yeah,
it.
I told because I didn't want to stay in a cheap resort. I knew I could and afford it better, but I didn't want to. Because mostly I am bougie as all hell. And also, Dan and his family go so rarely that when they do, it's like a big thing and they only stay
Yeah.
in nice hotels. Like I think he's like stayed at like the Polynesian and
Ugh.
the Contemporary. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't do that. I stay at Pop Century.
Yeah.
But so we had picked when we were planning it, we had picked Coronado Springs and it was under 3 for
I think that's where I stayed with Caitlin and Jamie last time we went.
I think so.
Um, yeah. I mean, she had everything. She has me flying JetBlue, which is the best. And she has me like,
I
she
fly
was like,
Delta.
don't worry about travel like stuff. She was like, I'll have a car ready to pick you up. You'll be good to go. And I was like, done.
Okay, she texted me this week to tell me the most exciting travel news because if you know anything about me, you know that Delta One First Class International was the best experience I've ever had in my life, and that I am, in fact, a silver status Delta Sky Miles member. So I get automatic first. I get first choice at first class upgrades. And but I haven't been traveling as much because it's way more expensive to travel in America. So I'm like afraid of my points running out. But then the CEO of Delta announced that Delta Sky Miles membership is being linked so that you can get extra points with Starbucks membership.
Oh my gosh.
I
So-
literally started freaking out. And Doug goes, I don't know what any of the words you just said meant. And Dan goes, basically just she's white girling and like let her have a moment.
I was shocked because I didn't realize American and JetBlue fall into the same category. And they do. And so like if you have like, that's a whole life plan. I'm going to get rid of one of my cards I don't use and get a flight card because those are better.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, it's going to be so convenient because those are the two I fly the most just because it comes out price-wise. Those end up being well. American usually ends up coming out better. And I just really love JetBlue. And so if I can swing it, flying
I
JetBlue.
love Delta.
Yeah, I'm fine with Delta. It's hit or miss. But like, it just ends up being a little bit pricier than American a lot of the time.
That's true.
So that's why I fly American. If I'm going to pay more, I'm flying JetBlue. They have more and better snacks and comfier seats.
I don't know. Have you ever flown first class? Because
I have American.
Delta's first class is.
They did give me steak when I was flying first class, so like in quinoa, it was lovely. JetBlue did not give me steak, but it wasn't first class either. So
there's that.
You know. But yeah, so I'm killing the game. I'm killing the game.
I
hope
love
to
that.
Stuff away in the near future for my
love
birthday trip.
I love it.
But while we are figuring our lives out and living our best lives, I just have a quick and to the point little spiritual affirmation for you.
Perfect.
Be savage, not average.
Yeah.
And before we full stop get into our notes, I want to say hang in there for the end of the episode because I will be announcing what our Halloween / in-between movie is going to be. And MK doesn't even know it because I didn't tell her.
I surely do not.
And I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I think it's going to be so fun. So hang in there. All right.
Okay.
Shall we?
We absolutely shall.
So we've made it to the season 3 finale of Bates Motel.
And it was not easy to get here. Let's be very real.
It's been a rough journey. We still have 2 seasons left, but you know, we're over the hump.
Yeah.
This episode is just called Unconscious. Could mean a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know where to like nail it down, but I'm like, yep, there are some unconscious people. That's a fact. It aired May 11th of 2015, which is like, I think the day before I graduated college. No, what day did this come? I graduated the Saturday of this week.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that one more time. The number, the day?
May 11th, 2015.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe the 10th. Did this come out on a Sunday?
Yeah.
I think I graduated the 10th.
Okay.
It was like around this week. Yeah. It was rated 8.8 out of 10.
That's pretty epic.
I'm okay with it though.
I think I am too, yeah.
As a finale, a lot happened.
Yeah.
The number 1 song is still See You Again.
Okay.
The number 1 movie, however, has changed.
Oh.
It is now Pitch Perfect 2. You know.
Ugh.
Get a little Haley Steinfeld action.
Das Sound Machine. That's why I care about Pitch Perfect too.
I just love Haley Steinfeld.
And I love Flula Borg, so it makes sense.
There you go. Yeah, we're set. The number 1 book is Gathering Prey by John Sanford. I know nothing about the book, nothing about him. Sure, he's lovely. I'm sure he's lovely.
Sure, yeah.
Now, on this day, I have some facts for you. Stumbled into a bit of a rabbit hole. I have some art facts for you.
Okay.
So on this day, there was a big art sale in New York, and Picasso's The Woman of Algiers sold for $179 million, $365,000, making it the most expensive artwork ever sold. But also on this day, sold in this art exhibit, was Alberto Giacometti's painting, Pointing Man, which is now was the most expensive sculpture ever sold at $141.3 million. So, fun art facts for you. I don't know if anyone else in the world found that interesting, but I did.
Okay. That's all that matters, really.
Thank you. I thought so. Last but certainly not least, the rest of the world will probably connect with this a lot more. But this is a day that Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games for
Deflategate?
Yes, for Deflategate. I know. I was like, the rest of the world is going to connect with this piece more. But I like to get my art facts in first.
I hate Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think that I might actually hate a quarterback more than I hate Tom Brady.
Oh my God, who?
Patrick Mahomes. Fuck that guy. Oh,
I haven't looked at him like on a personal level. He's like a good quarterback mostly, but I like don't know anything about him on a personal level like I do Tom Brady. So
yeah, no. He's overrated. He's overhyped. He's not. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
But like,
totally fair. Totally fair.
He's also not, I don't find him, I find him to be a very classless human.
I believe it. I have no opinion. I have no basis of anything, so I will just trust your opinion and agree with you.
Perfect.
Yes. Director, still Tucker Gates. He came back for the end. And same writers.
Fantastic.
Our guest star is Fiona Vroom. And she played Vicky Monroe, who was the interviewer at the mental institute.
I was going to say, because there wasn't really a lot of guests in this episode.
There weren't. So this is who I've picked.
Okay.
She was known for the 2017 Power Rangers. That's the amount of information I have for you.
You don't have a character name or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Great.
She was in Altered Carbon.
Hey.
She was in The X-Files. And she was in Big Eyes. So she's been
Big Eyes.
Yeah.
We've talked about Big Eyes on this podcast.
Yeah, and I've still not seen it.
Me either.
Excellent. We are on the same page.
Yes.
Now, I surprisingly don't have like a super ton of notes on the finale. I mean, I have.
I truthfully don't either. I think I only have about a page and a quarter.
I have enough notes. Don't get me wrong.
Well, but again, remember we talked about how we take different notes for this. So like my notes are my thoughts, and I only have about a page and a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We start out with the love of my life, Dylan, who he's walking into the Bates home, and he finds the guitar from Caleb, and he just knows that Caleb's not coming back. And
okay, but I have never related so much to Norma as I did in the scene where she was like, her way of comforting Dylan was just being like, people are really disappointing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was like, look, she's not wrong. I was like, that's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
But she was just like, yeah, everyone disappoints you. It's fine. BT dub. I'm looking at mental institutions for Norman.
I was like, oh, finally.
I was like, oh, about time. You finally made it. And that's about it. We don't get a whole lot of information on that aside from she thinks it's time.
Yeah.
We get a lot of, in this episode, like weird flashes over to Romero where not a lot happens, but then we flash back to a new scene. So
I do have one note at one point where I just go, why are you just lurking there?
Yes, he is all of the time.
Yeah.
as in the scene, he is lurking where the DEA is setting up their plan to take Bob Paris down. And I assume this is their 24-hour plan they've been working on, and they are
Correct. Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah.
And then we go to Norma, who is just walking around, then walks into Norman's room and just watches him sleep.
Okay, but
Yes.
she got ready to go.
Yeah.
And then she's like doing this walking around, and she's wearing a pantsuit,
Mm-hmm.
like a snazzy pantsuit. I was like, who is this?
She's business Norma now.
I don't know this woman.
No, she's made a decision, and she's like, I gotta just dress the part if I'm gonna live the life. Like, we gotta go. And this so then we get to the credits. So the intro was very like somber, but it set the mood really well for the episode. Because while, like, a lot didn't happen, it definitely set the tone, and like you felt it the rest of the episode.
Correct.
So I thought that was a fun little tool that was used. And then back from the credits, we start with Caleb. And he looks like he's just camping, and it's like, okay, maybe he's like where he said he would be. And then we flash over to Dylan, and we see a panned out view from behind Dylan of just emptiness, where he's expecting Caleb to be.
He wasn't just like remembering Caleb like there at the farm with him, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Like this camera work, it just like the scenes themselves are like written well, but with not any dialogue happening, you have to use the camera work to portray the feeling.
Truthfully, I have a couple notes in this episode about the camera work, because it was very well done.
It's definitely a lot happened in this episode, but the camera work is definitely what like led the episode. Like,
oh yeah. This was
a
much more visual episode, but like in the best way.
Yes, absolutely. I think we haven't really had we've had good camera work, we've had good visual scenes, but it hasn't been as much as this episode. And I think that was a great way to end like season 3. It was a good so I was pleased with it. And then we pop over to Emma for a bit, and we learn that someone is looking to donate their lungs, and Emma immediately like shuts down.
Yeah, I was like, you don't seem very excited to get new lungs, ma'am.
And I couldn't decide if it was because she was scared or because she knew that something nefarious probably went on to make it
right, because she was like, how did I get to the top of the list? And he was like, well, I don't know. And I was like, is she distrusting him, or is she like uncomfortable?
Right. And we'll learn later. But we pop back over to the motel for a bit. Norman is taking Bradley breakfast, and she's bolted. She's just not there.
But I said, I'm not surprised. Why would she still be there after how you left her last night?
No, truly. I was like, I'm not surprised she's not there, but like also I'm kind of surprised she's left so suddenly with nowhere to go when she wanted someone to come with her. Like, she doesn't, at this point, doesn't even have money or anything. So it threw me off a bit, but that's fine. We're there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So we go back to Norma, who's actually like quite a nice looking mental institute. I was like, this is not what I expected. Like, it looked more like a
but like, of course it was like of course Norma found a place like that.
It looks like an old folks like retirement home, like those people that retire out in Florida. Like, they're playing games and like hanging out. Everyone's dressed nice.
Okay, so I watched the newest Hallmark movie with Dan's sisters and his mom. Well, he and his brother were there too, and we made them watch it with us. Yeah. They were there. We made them watch it with us, and it was the worst Hallmark movie. The worst. Like, all of us were unhappy because the heroine was the least likable character in the whole movie.
Ugh.
But she was fighting with her grandpa and trying to get him to go into this retirement home. Mm-hmm. And the problem was, he was like, I can't afford it. And she was like, just sell the store that you built and worked for 30 years. And like, in the whole show, the whole movie, she doesn't learn anything. Like, in the end, he sells the store and forgives her, and she gets the guy, and like, it's just awful. It's stupid. Ugh. The worst. But
doesn't Hallmark know like what a Hallmark movie is supposed to be?
Right. But the retirement home also runs the radio station for their town. And so like
Well, of course.
she was like trying to get him to go into the retirement home so that he could be a DJ on the radio. And like the retirement home, when they went to go look at it and look at their like recording studio for the radio, they also like talked about the fact that there was like a neon bowling alley and like all of this stuff. And I was like, what the fuck kind of retirement home is
Spoiler alert for this fever dream of a Hallmark film. I don't even know, like, I don't even know. That's why.
So when you were like, it looks like an old folks home, I was like, yeah, not like that fucking one. And then I was like, she has no idea what I'm talking about. I have to explain the context of the horrible nursing home.
Jeez. Ugh, man. Yeah. So she's at this nice one and she starts talking to Vicky Monroe. And she's like, what is like, this is what I'm here for. I just want to check on the price, kind of figure out how it's worked with families. And then Vicky's like giving her the third degree. She's like, where's your referral from? What's your insurance? She's like, yeah, I just want to know like basics. She's like, I'm just coming in on my own. And like, Vicky's not having it. Turns out it's because it's like $20,000 to $40,000 a month. Like,
yeah, which is expensive. It is expensive, but also, a place like that isn't like your old school 1800s asylum. You don't just like decide you don't want your kid anymore and lock them up. Like that is like a therapy. Like that is a home for people who are mentally disturbed, who have doctors and therapists working with them at all times. Of course it's expensive.
Without the doctors and therapists added in. That's just room and board.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, because she said that's before the costs of the doctors in the treatment processes.
She said most people, once you count the doctors and therapists, it comes out to anywhere between 20 and 40.
Because I'm just thinking that is more expensive than like
she said it was $549 a night.
Yeah.
Which is $16,000. So the $40,000 is with the therapist.
Got it.
Yeah.
But still, like, that's more than you're spending at like just the room and board is more than you're spending at like a 5-star hotel. Like,
oh, for sure.
That's wild. And like out in the middle of nowhere. It's not like she's in. I mean, it's a nice area, but like, goodness gracious.
But I mean, yeah, it's not like a chain your mentally unwell child to the wall and like
neither is a 5-star hotel.
That's kind of the vibe she went for. She didn't go to a hospital.
I know. Ugh, I don't know. I don't think she knew. And I don't think she didn't know. Because she left and she was like, this is very expensive. And I was like, yeah, to be fair, like I also would be like, well, I guess he can't go to a mental institute anymore because I sure can't afford that.
No, and I get that. I was like, you guys both have fucked up expectations right now.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, showing up in a nice place and being like, oh, it's something I can definitely afford without insurance. That was like mistake number one.
Right. With your failing motel that has no guests.
Right. Yeah. So, whew. And then we have a brief break to Dylan, who's just like super pissed off at Caleb.
Yeah.
And totally fair. And then we go to Emma and she overhears her dad saying that they have to be there. I think it was like in 90 minutes or something. It was pretty quick turnaround. And then she's gone. And I was like,
you seem a little ungrateful right now.
And I
get it.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Like, I know you don't know that, but
right. And obviously then when we like find out her feelings, I feel for her, but I was like, oh, yeah, you're literally going to have your life saved. Get over yourself.
Right. And instead we go to Bradley, who is also unstable. And she's gone home and just starts taking stuff. She's breaking everything. She's taking everything that she thinks is of value.
I didn't realize she was taking things at first. I thought she was just fucking trashing everything. And I was like,
oh, no, I saw her take the first watch and then I saw her start breaking things. And I was like, okay, we're off on a rampage.
Yeah.
We had a lot of quick scenes, but there was a lot of characters in this episode that they had to like touch base with. So I think they didn't do a terrible job as much as it sounds like I'm just jumping around.
Yeah.
It still flowed.
No, it didn't feel jumpy watching it.
Mhm.
But you're right. Like as I'm going through notes, I'm like, oh no, those were short.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but then this is when we get a turnaround. It starts to lengthen a bit. And we have Dylan and Will. Will has called Dylan because he can't find Emma. And Dylan is just like panicked. And he's like, did you try this? Did you try that? And he's like, yep, she's not in any of those places. And Dylan's like, okay, I'll find her. So naturally, she's out at Dylan's cabin because where else would
Yeah.
she be?
I was like, I literally go, of course she went to the farm.
Right,
Yeah.
of course. And so also I want to make note, no one is ever scared when you walk up behind them and stuff in this show. Like, I understand it's Dylan's place, but all she knew was that she was there by herself. And he comes from like around the house and walks up behind her, and she doesn't even flinch.
No,
I would be on the ground. Like, it's just insane. And but this is where we get Emma's explanation, and she's scared she's gonna die because if it doesn't match, she's just gonna die and lose the rest of her life. She's scared that she's gonna have to think about it for the rest of her life, that one day she's gonna go in and it's just gonna quit working.
Yeah.
And she's got all of these like totally normal feelings, it seems. I mean, I don't have the same problems, but it totally seems normal. I would probably freak out the same way.
Yeah,
like,
no, it was
deal that I'm here for like, say, 3 more months, but I may not be here for like 30 more minutes if I go get this. So like,
right, like it's super valid, especially because like one of my best friends is a transplant survivor, and his transplant was kidneys. And he went 30 years without kidneys, which, I mean, it was a shitty time in dialysis all the time. And like,
right.
And it sucked. But it was like sustainable in the sense that like he could keep living that. Like it doesn't mean his life was perfect and there was lots of things that went wrong all the time. But if you would do a lung transplant and you have lungs to begin with, it's super risky because once they take the fragile lungs out, if the new lungs like reject, there's no option. You can't live without lungs. You can live unwell without kidneys. You can't live without lungs.
Right.
So like it was, when I listened to her, I was like, I take back being rude about you being ungrateful, because like that's
very.
Yeah.
And she had no idea that it was $50,000 worth. So
right.
She doesn't know the links everyone went to for her.
Yeah.
And then the moment we've all been waiting for, they kiss. And at this moment, I was like, man, I wish Norman had never been involved in the show. I wish he had just never.
I just want a love show about Dylan and Emma.
Right. I just want it to end right here. This is end of the show. I assume Emma gets her transplant, survives. They now settle down together. Happy ever after. Norman's in a mental institute.
Perfect. Done.
We're just like,
no more. Podcast
That's
over.
the end of the show. We did it. We finished. We fixed Bates Motel. But unfortunately.
That's not how that goes.
Unfortunately, it's not. And we have to go back to Bradley and Norman, our least favorite dastardly duo. And based on everything she's acquired from her family's home, she's got like $45,000 to live on, which is like a decent amount for 2 kids who are just like in a small town area. Fun.
Yeah.
And she's just decided, she's like, tonight's the night, we're leaving now.
I was like, oh, she actually thinks he's going to go with her. That's so cute.
I know. And like, I put like, I feel bad for Bradley, but she's also like super selfish.
Yeah.
Like, she's now going to have everyone worried because Norman's leaving. And she also like knows that he's going through some stuff and doesn't care because she just wants him to be with her.
And she's like, just leave your mom. And I was like, oh yeah, so you can hop off one crazy train and onto another?
Exactly. So about this time, Norma gets home and Norman just like takes off after her.
Yeah.
And this is where Norma tells Norman she's worried and that she thinks he needs to get help. And I was shocked she actually was so upfront with him.
Uh-huh.
This was also like a reminiscent scene from the original film.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, I literally just like stared at the screen in shock. So I was like, I can't believe this just happened. And also, Norman couldn't either because he just stops and he's like, I'm glad you had this talk. You've given up on me.
And I was like, giving up on you, you fucking whack job.
Right. And she's like, that's the exact opposite. I was like, exactly. Like, if she gave up on you, she would have never come back when she left. Like,
right.
No. I was like, this is not how it is. And then, quick flash that I was speaking about of Alex Romero.
Right. This is when I wrote, Alex, are you still fucking lurking?
Yes, he's still lurking. And everything's going down. They're getting ready to head out.
Yeah.
Then we go to Norma, and she's just staring off into the abyss when Alex shows up. And it's kind of like a funny, cute scene.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to apologize. But then she basically forgives him anyways. She's just like, hey, we both like screwed up. Yeah. And then she has her breakdown about Norman. And I was like,
except for she says he's the dearest boy who ever lived. And I was like, he's a fucking murderer.
Right. He is the least dear boy that has ever lived, but that's fine.
But then I like had so many feelings because like I hate Norma and I don't want Alex to end up with Norma, but like also I love Alex and he like just loves her so much and it's like stupid and he just was like looking at her and I'm talking so fast because I just was like, tell her how you feel.
I know, but instead she says, maybe fate wins here. I mean, we're all doomed in the end, right? I was like, that is so depressing, but also like not so inaccurate for like your entire society that you live in. Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
still like
yeah.
Sad. And so we get to the cop brigade, which is what I've now referred to them as, on their way to hunt down Bob Paris. And the next thing we know, Alex Romero is calling Bob Paris and telling him to run. For those of you not watching, Mary Kate has left the podcast.
The bullshit that this man would do for Norma fucking Bates. You went through all of this to call the DEA in the first place, to get the flash drive, to implicate your father and yourself in shit that you shouldn't even have to worry about, just to let him go because you're afraid that he'll tell the police about Norman murdering his father and then Norma will go to jail. And for what?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Why?
So naturally.
Why?
Why
do good men let women ruin them?
Why men? I don't know. So because Bob's not there, as Alex knew he wouldn't be,
yeah,
they meet up as a surprise to Bob at the boat dock. And Alex starts saying a lot of like super sketchy stuff. And I was like, okay, is Alex the bad guy? I was like, what is happening? And lo and behold, Bob starts saying yes.
Oh, maybe it's what Bob says. Yeah, no, because my next note just says that's fucking offensive.
Yeah, so Bob starts going off on Romero and telling him that he's become his father. And
that's what it was. I was pissed. Yeah. I was pissed.
And I just Bob, you knew you shouldn't have antagonized him because the next thing that happens is Alex straight up shoots him and kills him.
I said, Alex, are you kidding me?
No second thoughts. Just right out of the gate. No question.
No, none. Just dead.
So that's cool, I guess. He's now killed the guy that was supposed to be the sheriff, Marcus.
Oh.
On a whim. Now he's killed Bob on a whim after he told him to escape. But I guess he had to tie up loose ends, whatever. And then we go back to Norman. Whew. So we get off of this high, and Norman's like, totes leaving. See you later. And she's like, where are you going? And he's like, don't you want to know who I'm going? Or something like, I'm not going by myself. Oh, because she says, where are you going alone? And he goes, I'm not going alone. And blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, so who are you going with? And he's just losing it. He starts just snapping about everything. And
he's like, yeah, I'm going with Bradley Martin. And she's like, sir, Bradley Martin is dead. And he's like, no, she's not. And we talked about this last night.
Yep. And she's like actually super chill for this moment. Like, I mean, she's like stressing, but I would have thought she would have overreacted and she didn't.
Okay,
And
she didn't until she then knocked him unconscious and dragged him into the basement.
well, yes, yes, but at this second, that hasn't happened yet. But also, it's because Norman basically pushes her down the stairs trying to get past her.
Fair.
And when he tries to run, she hits him over the head and then drags him to the basement and ties him up. This is like such a wild moment. Like, so much happened so fast.
So much.
And then, unshockingly,
she calls
Dylan for help. Right. That's the next step.
Yeah.
Anytime anything crazy happens, Norma calls Dylan.
Yeah.
And we have a flashback to Norman. It's a really cool scene where he looks like he's in a straitjacket because of how she tied him. And so that was creepy and fun.
Yeah.
And then when Dylan gets there and goes to look for him, Norman's gone.
Okay.
And she tells him all the crazy things Norman's saying, and he's like, no, Bradley's alive.
He goes, okay, so yes, but the way he says it, he's just like, no, Bradley Martin is alive. Norman and I helped her fake her suicide together.
Mm-hmm.
I drove her to the bus station. All of that is probably could be true. Doesn't mean he's not insane. Like, for sure, he's absolutely insane, and we need to find him.
Absolutely.
But also, yes.
Also, he could very well be with me.
Right.
And, of course, he's with Bradley.
Yeah.
And I just put this as a match made in hell. And because they're just chatting away and sounding crazy, and then fake Norma shows up in the car. And I just put, you see, Bradley, you see, this is what we were talking about. Because Norman's like,
Mother wants to talk to you.
Yeah, that's the creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh my gosh, the creepiest. And so creepy. And so I love, again, the scenes, the way they were shot. When he goes to run around the car talking to her.
That's literally, oh my
and she
God.
switches from Norman to Norma. It was so seamless.
And
seamless.
And it's all that still scene. And then he
while he's strangling Bradley.
Because he's not, I mean, he's strangling her, but he's
and beating her head, yeah.
Beating her head, but it's Norma until she's dead.
And then you see the hand switch back. And I just put, I told you Bradley would die, because the last notes that I wanted to say when she was doing something crazy, I was like, my next note said, Bradley's going to die soon. And then I was like, now I don't think I can say that with a straight face, so I'm not going to say this comment.
Fair. Because we recorded it having already known.
Right. So I didn't mention it. But so Bradley dies, and as soon as it flips back to Norman, he just says, Mother, what have you done? Come on. So naturally he throws Bradley in the trunk, because what else do you do? And very original psycho of him pushes the car into the water. And this was also a foreshadowing, because it had the same license plate as the car of Marion Crane when they pushed Marion Crane into the water.
Well, and the sound of it dripping, like the sound of when the car tips and goes in, and the sound of the bubbles coming up through the tailpipe is the same as the movie. Yeah. I was like, It's so sexy because it's so fucked up.
Yep. And fake Norma is talking to...
But also, okay, before he pushes the car off, he opens the trunk and literally looks at her dead body and goes, I'm so sorry Mother did this to you. Yeah, and I was like, that gave me so much fucking ick that I could not.
Yeah. And then this last scene with him and Norma, and it's hard to tell if it's fake Norma. I mean, you know it's fake Norma because you watch what just happened, and you know regular Norma's in a car trying to chase him down.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell if it's fake Norma or regular Norma in this scene, based on just her actions because she has so many like of the same mannerisms and like she's acting so much like she normally would.
And
Aside
except
from
for a
extra
couple of things that she says are like very much like a only
extreme.
Norman would want that to be
Right.
said kind of thing.
Yeah. And
And
then
then,
you
but
pan
then
over and you see that she's
oh,
gone. Ugh.
the shot of him just watching the water. That literally, I walked after that. I literally just like walked out of the room and I was like, I will never be okay again.
It was so good though.
I
So good.
so good.
I love
That might be the
so much.
shortest we've ever talked about it, but it was just because like everything was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was because like a lot of it, I mean, like we talked about, a lot of it was the lighting, the cinematography. It wasn't dialogue, it wasn't actions, it was the lack thereof, I guess, of actions and how much it like
So much stillness in like the worst way.
yes. Ugh. Ah. So yeah. That's our season finale.
It's so intense.
Who do you want to punch in the face?
I mean, Norman,
Yeah, naturally.
not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would have been my first pick as well.
yeah.
But my second pick is Bradley. Again,
Fair.
I understand she died. I'm really good at picking people who've been murdered.
I was like, I think every time someone dies, you also punch them in the face.
Yes, look. Sometimes they need it. Just like reinforce it. Who's your MVP?
Dylan.
So Dylan was my second pick for this episode.
Okay.
My first pick, kind of a curveball.
Okay.
But I picked Norma because she tried to get him into a mental institute.
Yeah.
She tried to act stable with him for the most part.
Yeah. No,
Tried to be the mother that he's needed this whole time. It was just a little too late.
that's fair.
And I mean, she had her crazy moments, of course, but
That's fair. That's fair. No, you're not wrong. You're
hard.
really not wrong.
Now, here's some trivia for you.
Please tell me.
In the last scene, when Norman switches back to Norma after he strangled and bashed Bradley's head in, and he says, "Mother, what have you done?" That was the same line he used in the movie.
Oh, shit. There was I think that's why this episode fucked me up so much, was because there was so many of the big movie moments,
right?
That I also like, I was saying I can't figure out how they're going to do 2 more seasons, because like so much of this was the movie.
Yep. And this episode was originally titled The Psycho, which is the first time the original title has made sense.
Yeah, no, I would have been so fucking into that being the title.
Yep. In the scene where Bradley is killed, there was like Vera actually had like some issues like with that scene, and she ended up in the ER.
Oh.
It didn't specify exactly what happened, but she ended up in the ER. And I did not think about it this way, but Bradley Martin was the first main character to die. Because everyone else we only had for like a season. You think Bob Paris, he's only been in this season.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in season 1, Kyle that's his name, right? The fucking cop that she was banging.
I think so.
I don't remember
like
his
he
name.
wasn't even in the
But I mean, he wasn't, but I mean, he died early, but he was pretty much a main character. But I guess no, Bradley is the first like long-term character to die.
Mm-hmm. So,
which I guess is the gateway that shit's gonna start going crazy.
We need it. That was what I was about to say. And I was like, I don't know that we need any gateway.
We didn't need it. Yeah, but like I guess in terms of like the door has now been opened for main characters to die.
Yep. Sure enough.
Which I mean, Game of Thrones did in the first episode. So
I mean, I guess that's fair. I haven't watched it, but I've read the first third of the book, so like
Oh, right. So you know who the first
people
big
die.
main character to die is.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
Yeah. Yeah.
read like 5 times the first third. So
Good. Fantastic.
so
Guys, there's still 20 more episodes of the show. I don't know if I mentally have that ability.
well, I'm about to wreck your mentality just a bit more.
Oh God. Please
In the
don't.
best way, probably. I have not seen this film yet. I've only heard about it. But I think that it's going to take us into a path of, we'll say conversations. I don't know if enjoyable is the right word. The 1990, I think it was 96 film, Urban Legend.
I've never even heard of that.
It stars Jared Leto.
Fuck that guy.
And one of our faves, Rebecca Gayheart.
Okay.
And it is a horror show about urban legends coming true.
It's a show or a movie?
It's a movie. It's a movie.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
So I've also never seen it, but I'm scared and excited. And
okay. I think I'm more scared than excited.
We'll see what happens. So if all of you, so we're going to be actually recording that episode on Halloween night.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That is the next Monday. No.
What day is it?
No, we would be recording that episode on the
24th.
24th.
Oh, no. Not the 24th, but that weekend, because the 24th is the day I'm that's after podcast.
Oh, yeah, we had already talked about this needed to be. But yes.
And so it'll come out like November 3rd. So it'll be our post-Halloween content.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to lead to some fun and spooky discussions. And we may never sleep again, but it's fine.
Oh, God, I'm so nervous.
Aren't you? I am too. I can't wait. I think it's a daytime show. I recommend watching in the daytime.
I don't ever have time in the daytime, so good luck. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay, well, maybe go hang out with Dan while you watch it.
He doesn't like scary movies.
I don't care.
Oh,
Doug.
Yeah, no. Speaking of scary stuff, and Doug and Dan's brother David are making me play all of The Last of Us with them, just so that I can see the whole story.
But I think I'd like it.
Yeah, they were like, you would really love this, and they were like, even if you just like watch us play so you get the story. And so apparently I am going to be spending all of my time in the future with Dan's best friend and his brother, because I don't have my own friends because you and Jill live too far away.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I will be playing my Disney Dreamlight game while watching American Horror Story. So living my best conflicted life. And it's gonna be great.
Great.
So yeah, if you have any urban legends you want to tell us, you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media everywhere at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And we'll see you for our first of a two-parter of Stargate SG-1.
Or maybe the whole two-parter.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll be on Sunday, regardless.
No, I lied. We can't do the whole two-parter because we're also doing a movie next week.
Ooh, if
it wasn't a movie week, I'd say let's do the whole two-parter, but we can't do a two-parter and a movie.
Fair. We're already going to be mind blown from the movie. We can only handle so much in a day.
I literally don't have the physical time in the day to watch 2 movies.
Me either. Good times.
Good times.
Right. We will see you on Sci-Fi Sunday then.
Bye.
Bye.